What's happening, good people? As always, we are pleased to have you here with us, and we're in for a treat tonight. We welcome you here to vibe with us and play a part in keeping the culture. Tonight is a special community edition of our Evening Social podcast. This is brought to you in part by New Wall Street and Investment Education Community, also by Wilson's Pizza and Grill. We want to make sure we shoot out all of our partners tonight. The lovelies, we're here at this elegant 1739 gallery. I got to shoot out our brand partners. You know, I'm rolling with the Truth Apparel, and then also Brainiac 91. Why you always laughing when I get to doing this? Man, I'm rolling with the Truth.
We're moving forward.
And guess what?
Nice.
We out the ball again, but I ain't gonna say that. I wasn't gonna even say
No, you know, I mean, I tried to ask you
They
about
can't
it
really
earlier.
get this, but you know.
I tried to ask you about it
it
earlier, you know, but
Well,
it's
I mean,
nice. It's
I
nice.
didn't know what you were saying.
It looks good on you.
Okay, well, thank you. Really, thank you. Okay, appreciate that. That's the first time you said that. Truman, let's cut that clip so I can use that. No, don't cut. When we finish, we want to cut that clip. I need to play that. She gave me a compliment. All right. Okay. Then also, we got Drip Ultra Pure Water, Sweeties Teas, Wavy. Cannot forget about our brothers with Sleek Vodka and also Brandocious with his Confidence 71. All right, appreciate that. Don't want to also forget everyone here is entered into a drawing partnership we have with the Kansas City Royals, where you can win 4 Royals tickets and a parking pass. Also, and my guys here tonight, Heartland 180, donated to us some beautiful smelling candles to be a part of. And then we have some other giveaways. So, appreciate everyone being here. Now that we got that out the way, I am, first things first, don't forget the coach, then comes Mo.
And I'm Jabril Janae, as usual.
All right. We cannot forget our DJ, Ben Rich over
Hey,
there.
Rich.
Appreciate him. And tonight, we are here with a bulldog. We're here with another dot boy is in the house with us tonight. We're here with also, I said a bulldog, so you know that means he's a graduate of the Wyandotte High School.
Wyandotte.
Yes, there it is. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Love it. Also, he's a former deputy police chief, and then he was elected the first black mayor in KCK. So we have tonight with us the Honorable Mayor Tyrone Garner.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Welcome.
having you here this evening. I do want to just say, just to go real quick, this platform is a platform that is to be able to highlight those in our community that are thriving in a professional manner. The Jegna Club's vision is to build a community of individuals with an entrepreneurial mindset that are economically independent, working in harmony. The community edition is specific in highlighting our community leaders, honoring successes within our community, and tackling the issues that hold our community. So tonight, we're going to speak a little candid, have some conversations, and let's talk about our community and how we are moving forward to build a Wyandotte County. So, Mayor, the first thing we want to do is kind of loosen it up before we dive in, because see, somebody on the couch like to really dive in.
Okay.
So I want to loosen it up. You're going to get us ready. So we're going to do one of our favorite segments, which is called Fun Questions. All right. So
It's not what it seems.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm telling you, she's pretty good. She really is. She's pretty
Okay.
good. All right, here we go. I'm just a couple real quick. You've been given a star-nosed mole. You can't get rid of it. What would you do with it?
Live with it.
You gonna live with it?
I'm gonna live with it.
Just live with it.
Gotta work through it.
Work through it? Okay, Star knows more. I got that animal. I don't know. I'm this.
Why I feel like I'm
gonna
going
have-
around stepping
I'm
in
gonna-
paper.
I'm gonna have to fix something about to do with that.
You know, like put ink on it and stamp their paper like your teachers used to do. That's in my mind. That's what that's
So
what I
you
would do.
cruelty to animals.
Listen, I'm sorry, Peter.
You
I
cruelty
didn't
to
mean
animals.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't mean
man.
that, Peter. You see how he throw me under the bus?
I'm just,
No.
you,
Did I say it's not as it seems? Now that's a sweet gesture for people in need of love. And why would you say that? He would be so pleased.
Being, I'm trying to make sure that they don't jump on us. Man. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make sure, this ain't jump on us. He talking about stamping that. Nah, I'm like,
Yeah.
we ain't gonna repeat that. Okay.
Anyhow, okay. What color would you like to eat? Or no, what color would you like if you had to eat a crayon straight from the box? Yeah.
Orange.
Orange. That's nice.
You know, like creamsicle.
He going back to that fat and soul.
There
He
you
talking
go. There
about
you go.
Okay. All right.
No, for real.
Okay.
Orange is nice.
okay.
That's a nice one.
All right. Now, what I want you to do, Mayor, is I want you to describe Wyandotte County to someone who's blind.
Wyandotte County is the smallest.
Pull that a little closer.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Because I want to make sure they
You
hear
want to
this.
hear it right? Okay. Wyandotte County is the smallest county in Kansas, but it is the most diverse county, second to a county in Florida. And so it's filled with awesome people, great people. It's a tight-knit community. Everybody knows everybody. Don't date nobody, because somebody gonna know you dated somebody.
Lord.
And that's real. But it's tight like that. It's a family-oriented community. A lot of folks that I've been around the country that I've met have been through Wyandotte County, and they always say they've had a great experience just driving through Wyandotte County, and just the family-oriented and just the friendliness and the wholesomeness of the folks that call Wyandotte County home. So it's just a great community, and I'm proud to say that I live there, and I'm the mayor for the great people that call Wyandotte County home.
Wyandotte.
There you go.
Okay. If you were to name your own song, what would you name it?
And you can't use what you said last time.
And I
So you can't use, never would have had to make it. You can't use
I can't use that again?
No, you can't use that. That was on that. Cut that one out.
I guess, run that question by me one more time.
If you had to name your own song, what would you name it?
Well, I'm a big Commission fan. For those of you that grew up and know Commission, it's a gospel group that started in the 80s. Fred Hammond started there. And there's an album called Number 7, and that's my favorite album. And the track is Number 7, and it's Please You More. And so that's one of my favorite tracks, yes.
So that would be the name of your song.
That's the name of my song.
Please you more.
Please You More. And if you put that in a spiritual context, it's all
Yeah.
about working to please God
Yeah.
and living in His purpose.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's
Never
necessary.
had to make it. Please you more.
yeah.
I like it. It's on there. So this question here is, the people want to know. I'm just putting it out there. All right. So can you eat ice cream with your hands?
If you want to.
If you want to.
If you want to.
It's okay.
If you think it is.
It's up to the person.
It's up to the person.
Okay, so Ben, stop talking about me when I scoop that ice cream. It's okay, Ben. Man,
It's okay.
it's all right. You know, eat it, man.
You say,
I
do
done
you?
been savage like that before,
Do
straight up. No, for real, that's been a thing for me. Okay, so you're a retired police officer. What is the silliest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
The silliest?
Yes.
I just told this story today. I was a young police officer, and there was a guy that was speeding on the highway. So I tried to pull him over. And so we're both speeding because I'm trying to pull him over. He didn't stop. And a cat pulled up on the side of me, waved at me in a Ford Mustang while my license sirens are going on, trying to pull the dude in front of me over. And he sped out and and I just said, I'm done. I'm done.
For the day.
I am done. So I pulled off. I said, you know what, can't get no crazier than that.
So you on high speed.
Yes.
They pull up next to you.
Right.
Like,
Well,
y'all-
And punch it. And punch it. You're
Cause
right.
he already tied up.
Craziest thing, yeah.
I feel like the craziest thing though is to see a police officer already got somebody pulled over and you slow down. Like, listen, bro, he's already handling business. Let's just
All right.
move along. Not that I do that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you letting us have a little fun with you. This show, for those who don't know, this show is not only an opportunity to put in front of our youth people who thrive in a professional manner, but it's also our opportunity, what we call opportunity to give oxygen. We're not flowers, we're not knocking anybody, but we want to give oxygen. And we say oxygen because it's our way to breathe life into you or to the people who we think are doing great things and are taking sometimes a hard stance to make change. And so we want to, at this time, be able to give an opportunity, if you don't mind, sharing an opportunity to give our mayor some oxygen. So we're going to quickly just talk just a little bit before we go into anything deep. Let's just talk a little bit about your groundwork. I got to get this out. You were born where?
I was born in Portland, Maine.
Okay. And then how did you get to, how old were you when you got to Kansas?
Oh, I was a newborn. What, to Kansas?
Uh-huh.
It was my sophomore year in high school.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
around that time.
Around that time.
Wait, where were you before that?
I was in San Jose, California.
Oh, okay.
I was
Oh,
born in Portland, Maine. My mother moved us to San Jose, and then my father moved our family to Kansas City, Kansas.
And then you graduated from where?
Wyandotte.
Okay.
There you go. Bulldog.
That
Once,
bulldog. Yeah.
right.
Once a bulldog.
Always a bulldog.
Okay.
There
You
you go.
got that on there. All right. So, what's your fondest memory of school? Like, what's your fondest memory of school?
I guess if you're talking about high school, my fondest memory was just, the difference with kids today, because I remember being in Wyandotte, there wasn't any air conditioning.
Right.
You had to let the windows up in the summertime with the big fans.
Yeah.
In the wintertime,
And
you
you're hoping the teacher got two fans.
You hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the wintertime, you had the big radiator heaters, that you wanted to sit close to. So it's, just little differences between, how it was and how it is, And then if you miss your bus, you ain't got no cell phone.
Yeah.
You walking out.
Yeah.
You walking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Walking was definitely a thing.
We got our steps in
Yeah.
before we knew we was getting our steps in. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So, did you ever experience any, say, racism or bullying?
Not so much bullying, because I was the kind of guy, I tried to get along with everybody. Plus, I was about my schoolwork and, getting off school, going to work at Indian Springs, So, but, Indian Springs, for those of you who remember, yeah.
First of all, wait, because I gotta know, where did you work at Indian Springs?
I worked at the AMC North Theaters.
Oh, no, I forgot we used to
Yeah,
have
at
a
Indian
theater
Springs.
there.
For those that, for those of you who remember, there
Yeah.
was some theaters at Indian Springs. It was a spot. Yeah.
It was.
It was back in the day.
It was.
It was. Yeah.
It was a spot.
Fun Factory.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
that's
Yeah.
there you
to
go.
go down
there you
there.
go.
Orange Julius.
There you go.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah. Racism. I think I experienced racism, and probably really didn't know it was racism. But looking back, I was on the debate team, and some of y'all may have heard of Lavelle Caldwell, but he's a close friend of mine, and we were debate partners. And we would go to other school districts And we would go in and we know in our hearts. We had our teachers, our classmates. We had people there said, y'all won. But we couldn't win. And it doesn't matter how well we prepared, how we planned. It was obvious that we won a lot of our debate tournaments, but in the end we didn't win. And you know there's something to that when your debate coach says, you know, stay encouraged, y'all did an awesome job, we know who the real winners are, and just keep pushing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so you look back and then you look at that and you're like, okay, we didn't really lose, we won, but there was something more to that, why we didn't walk away with the trophy.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to our young ones, our community, about dealing with hard situations like that? What advice would you give?
You don't quit. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep pushing. I mean, we're all gonna have challenges in life. You can talk about racism. You can talk about hate. You can talk about haters. You can just talk about life. Life happens to all of us at some point. And the one thing is, we've all heard, it ain't so much of what you deal with, it's how you deal with what you deal with to get through whatever you're dealing with, if that makes sense. And so just don't give up, don't quit, you know. And then my thing is always, you just got to have faith in God and yourself, and believe you know, in the power that's in the universe, and believe in yourself that you're gonna get through. No matter what it is, you can get through it. You just can't quit, because once you quit, it's over. You know, it's a done deal. So
Don't quit. I love that. Don't quit. Continue to go.
right.
Right. I love it. So, when you're looking back, do you have? Does anyone come to mind? You know what I'm saying, that played an impactful role in helping you to push yourself?
It was my mother. She was hard on me.
Okay.
But you know, it was love that was very hard on her. She pushed me. You know, she was really strict. Christian family values, education. You know, that was huge in our household. You know what I'm saying? So she pushed me. I mean, her quote all the time was, "Do your best, give your best, so you can have the best in life."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that always stuck with me. So yeah.
Do you feel like were you receptive to it at the time, or is that something that you now?
I mean, being a kid, you know, your mother pushes you as a kid. Then you get your teenage years. We know what being a teenager is like. You know, you don't always like, you know, your mom and your dad being in your ear, but you look back and you realize that those are the things that made you, molded you, and no matter which way and path you go in life, you always revert back to what your parents instilled in you and what other positive people poured into you to help you be successful.
Yeah. I like that. Man, we're gonna adjust some things just a little bit with some time constraints. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move into this other segment, and then we're gonna have Miss Miya do her performance at the end. We're gonna have her do that and put it together. So we're gonna move through, because I wanna, at this point, I wanna kind of move into a little bit about what's going on now today, and the work that you're doing for our community. I kind of want to move into that while we're going. And last time you came, so I want to say this: you are an alumni of the Even Social Podcast. Second time.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're one of our first, alumni. So thank you very much. The last time you were here, it was right after election, it was before you were sworn in. Let's talk about the inauguration. Talk about the inauguration. How went the, what were you feeling? What were you thinking at that moment in that?
It was a lot of emotions. You know, you're a little afraid because you don't know if what you're gonna say is gonna go over well, but you want to say something that hopefully inspires somebody. You know, and kind of give a vision of where you want to go and take, the city, under your vision of what you think leadership should be. So it was just a lot of emotion, but I was happy. You know, the people won. It wasn't so much me. The people won because I ran as a change candidate, and so I really felt like the people showed up, showed out, and they put me in a position not just because I was black, but because I reflected their values and what they wanted to see in that office. And so that made me feel good about that. The people seen something in me and valued me enough to want to be their mayor. And so I'm honored to be the mayor. And so that's what that night really meant to me. It was just an honor to be able to continue serving the people of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, okay. So I gotta ask you this. So what are the challenges that now that you're elected, you've been sworn in, now you're actually in office, you know, what are the challenges that face you?
Oh, there's all kinds of challenges. I mean, when you look at Wyandotte County, it is a great place, and so I don't want to give it long, but the challenges are how do you make it better? So you have to look at and identify what needs to be fixed. I was talking to a young man the other day, and he quoted a great football coach, and I've heard this before, and he said, you got to find what the problem is, you got to face what the problem is, and then you got to fix it. So it's 3 F's. And so I look at that. And so right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to identify not just who we are, but who we want to be and where we need to go as far as a county. And really that's community driven. It's not so much of what I want, it's really what the people want. So really just connecting with the community in a way to get that feedback and take that feedback back. But also looking at what are the challenges. The biggest challenges are we've got 20% homeless in Wyandotte County, or impoverished. We've got crumbling infrastructure. Within the African American community, we've got huge unemployment numbers, especially among African American males. We got food deserts. I like to call it economic segregation when you look at the disinvested and disenfranchised areas of Wyandotte County that sit east of 635. You look at inequity that exists in the halls of City Hall when you talk about the lack of diversity with those people that make decisions for this community, but really, in my opinion, don't have a desire to make decisions with this community because they don't look like this community. And so there's no cultural connection. When you talk about economic development and just the basic things, programs for our kids, our rec centers that are in disrepair. We got one swimming pool, and I'm glad we got that one open, but we need so many more. Programs for our seniors, jobs. How do we help people build generational wealth and get out of generational poverty and things? I mean, so when you talk about issues, there are a lot. Wyandotte County is $1.7 billion, not million, $1 billion in debt. That's a lot of money. Billion.
1.7 billion.
Billion.
Okay.
And then you're talking about high taxes and things of that nature. That affects all demographics of people. We got a public utility that really taxes people pretty hard. I mean, it's called BPU with the payment in lieu of taxes. So there are a lot of challenges that we all face for anybody that calls Wyandotte County home. And so how do we find the solutions to those problems? That's the biggest challenge. And I can't do it by myself. You know, I'm one person. I realize that we've all got to work together. It's a combination of community, the mayor's office, employees that work there, and the elected body that ultimately makes a decision when they vote on initiatives that come forward, either vote for or against. So it's a lot of moving parts.
Okay.
With such a tall task list, right? What do you feel like you've decided to focus on first?
Right now, 2 things, and we just talked to our staff the other day, is really we got to focus on community engagement. Mm-hmm. Number 1, it comes with educating the community about really what's going on up at City Hall. Yeah. And number 2, hopefully cultivating people that are interested, that really want something better for themselves and their family to really get engaged and get involved in what's going up City Hall, coming to the meetings, holding their elected officials, including myself, accountable to what their values are. The other side of that is economic development. To address all these issues, I believe that economic development has to be where Wyandotte County has to go. There's economic development north of Wyandotte County, south, east, and west. But for some reason, we cannot figure out why nobody is developing in Wyandotte County. And so at least east of 635, which is prime land, it's cheap, and to me, it's dead center in the metro of the Kansas City metropolitan area. And so, but if we can really broaden our tax base through economic development, affordable housing prospects, increasing residential brick and mortar businesses, supporting entrepreneurship, and start getting people back into Wyandotte County to bring that type of financial prosperity opportunities that exist, I think that's where we need to go. And so that's what our team is focused on: community engagement and economic development.
I'm assuming to get people back into Wyandotte County, BPU is a huge
Yeah, taxes.
deficit.
Yeah, taxes and BPU. We got to focus on lowering those burdens, as well as the fees. I mean, I'm hearing stories when we look at our fees and how a lot of poor people can't even afford to use the rec centers and the facilities because they've raised the fees just consistently every year. So we've got facilities that can't be used by the people that need them the most. And that locks out especially our young people and our poor young people to not have anywhere to go or anything to do to occupy their time. So these, I mean, we're working on these types of things, but economic development, community engagement is priority.
One thing we have noticed, you know, we can tell if you're on Facebook, we noticed the visibility of being out and being at different events. So with being out in different events, have you had the opportunity to stay more engaged with the voice of the community of how they're feeling?
I feel like I'd be failing this community in Wyandotte County as mayor if I didn't get out and engage. I mean, I cannot accomplish very much sitting in my office and not getting out and seeing what the real issues are and what the needs of the community really reflect through conversation and open communication. So, I mean, I value that. I love being with the people, and I'm one of these individuals that it doesn't matter whether you're the homeless person under the bridge or you're the multi-million-dollar CEO. I'm that mayor that wants everybody to feel like they have access to me and that I'm not above you. You can talk to me, and you got a mayor that's willing to listen. And I can't promise you that I can solve your problem, but I can promise you that I'm going to work to, work with you to find real solutions to these problems. And if I don't have the answer, at least do what I can to get the answers that to your satisfaction.
I mean, I'm in media, so I'd be remiss if I don't talk about the elephant in the room. So let's just talk about it. All right. So what was the deal with the SUV?
At the Denali?
Yeah, with the Denali. Yeah, I got to ask you that. I mean,
that's a good question. And that's a real good question. And I know there's a lot of misinformation and spin about that. And I'm glad you asked that question. I came in as mayor. Every mayor, by charter ordinance, by the law of the unified government, and a car is available to them. Okay. And every mayor's gotten a new car. When I was on the police department, every mayor got a new car. And I didn't feel that, any different with me. Now, some people say, well, you got a Denali. Well, okay. Here's the reality. The reality is number one, we got a General Motors plant. And number two is there's a supply chain problem that we had back in December when I asked our fleet manager for a vehicle, a chip shortage, and then the type of vehicle I wanted was an SUV because I wanted to be able to have something to accommodate my staff because I planned on having a staff. So when we traveled out of town, I could seat my staff comfortably. I didn't ask for a Denali, but because of the supply chain issues and the chip issues, when I went to the fleet manager for the unified government and I told him the type of vehicle I wanted was an SUV and what I wanted it, to be able to hold, he went out and did a search. He searched locally, he searched nationally, and he gave me two options. He said, Mayor, the only thing we can find because of the chip shortage and because of the supply chain shortage right now is there's a used enterprise car that you can have, and then we found a Denali in Missouri, and it's available to you. You just let us know which one you want. And so I'm thinking,
Used Denali.
Right, and so I'm thinking, okay, is it okay for me to have this? I checked with the legal department. They said, you're the mayor. We're obligated to get you a vehicle. I said, okay, well, GMC Denali represented the General Motors plant that we have, the only General Motors plant in the area. And plus, I wanted to make sure that Wyandotte County has always had a bad image. I wanted to make sure so whenever me and my team went somewhere, we could reflect and represent Wyandotte County with pride.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they bought me personally a Denali. They didn't put the title in my name. It's the city's vehicle. It was just bought for the use of the mayor. And that was the lens I was looking at it through. I mean, I didn't need a vehicle like that. It wasn't to showboat or I want to floss or anything like that.
Be honest, though, we want to look good. We want to represent good.
I want to represent our community. Right. I want to represent our community and people to feel proud about Wyandotte County. That's all it was for me. I don't need a Denali. It wasn't something where I was going to drive it as my personal vehicle or anything like that. But when we did go out, I wanted to reflect and people to instill pride in Wyandotte County. I was just shocked at the negative feedback with that.
So why you give it back though?
I gave it back because I had to put what I felt wasn't wrong over the negative feedback that really hampered me from being able to have a real conversation about anything, because the media just beat me up. It was kind of humorous, but if I talked about poverty, well, why don't you put the homeless in your Denali? If I talked about, economic development, well, give your Denali back. So, so it's like, okay. And the media historically has never really been favorable to Wyandotte County in the first place.
Right.
So I said I had to just take myself out of it. What I knew probably wasn't wrong, and probably there's nothing wrong with me having the vehicle, and say, I've got to put this community first if I'm going to be able to move the narrative forward. And not only did I give the vehicle back, we didn't lose a dime. We actually made almost $1,000 because I guess used cars are worth more now than, I don't know how the market is, but we actually sold it, got back what they bought it for, and made almost $1,000 on top of it. And because of that narrative, because I don't want the community thinking that I'm here for a car. That's not why I became mayor. I'm not here for things, I'm here for the people. So I made a commitment not to ever take a new car ever again while I was mayor, and to take whatever used car they have in the fleet, unlike any other mayor. I said I don't want a car. I want people to know that I'm really here for the people, and I wanted to take that narrative away from anybody that said that I'm here for anything other than to try and make Wyandotte County a better place. So that's really what it was all about. And I'm not above saying, okay, maybe it was a wrong decision, and if it was, I've apologized to several people, but my heart and my motives are pure, because if I wanted Denali, I could just, I'm not bragging, but any of us can go buy whatever car we want. We have to finance it, but
right.
So the car wasn't about me, and the car doesn't make me. I'm not here for things, and I don't want anybody in the community to think that that's what this mayor's about. And so it was just the right thing for me to do, to say, hey, take this car back. And I'm glad we got our money back. We actually made a little money selling it back. And I just made a commitment to the community. You ain't got to worry about that. I'm really gonna try and be better attuned to gauge what the pulse of the community is in that regard. And I gotta remember too, I'm under a lot of scrutiny. Mm-hmm. And so I just gotta be mindful of those things and just think a little better about, okay, looking at it from both sides. It might be right, but it ain't always the right thing to do. So I did what was right for the county.
I got you. Okay. Well, we appreciate you sharing that with us, being able to put a little light on things that may have not been shared. I got another one though I gotta ask you about. I gotta ask you this. So talk about the commission meeting. They say you just stopped and ran out. Can you talk a little bit about
I can.
that? Okay.
And I can. And I took a little offense to that, because to me it's that whole stereotypical angry black man thing. Mm-hmm. That some folks tried to spin on me. But if you really follow it, the first black female administrator in the history of Wyandotte County was put on notice when some commissioners asked me to do a national search. She'd only been there 2 months. She had not even begun to do the work that needed to be done. She was just getting ready to start to do some needed audits that I had ran on for the unified government, so we could, find it, face it, and fix it. That whole thing that I talked about, so we could have a better idea where we needed to go. Out the blue, some commissioners hit me with, Mayor, we want you to do a national search for an administrator. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You all just voted 2.5 months ago unanimously for this person who is well qualified to sit in this seat. And she's just starting out in a 15-month contract. 2.5 months later, basically you're giving her a vote of no confidence, in my opinion, and telling me that you want to find somebody new, in my opinion. I felt it was wrong. So they wanted to have a meeting about, having a national search. Well, number one, by the charter ordinances of the unified government, the commissioners cannot get involved in personnel matters of either the mayor or the administrator. And I felt like, okay, they're walking down a road of getting in personnel matters, and we all know the administrator is an employee. I have to protect her because she reports to me. I have to protect her rights as an employee, to not put her employee business out and her personnel matters out in a public venue. So I refused the meeting. 4 commissioners got together, which they can do, and they called a meeting. I came to the meeting. I listened to them. It's on tape. It's recorded. They had one question. When were you going to have a search? Basically, what was that going to look like? That was the question in a nutshell. And I let them make all their comments. I asked them if they were done, and I answered their question. I'm not prepared for a national search right now. This lady's coming here. She has all the credentials. There's no reason we should even have this conversation. And I don't want to have this conversation, and I'm not. And so I said what I had to say. I meant what I said. And I ended the meeting abruptly because, number one, I didn't want to answer any more questions or have a debate because, again, she's an employee. It's a personnel matter. And I felt I had to protect the integrity of the fact that she was an employee and she had that right that any other employee would have. And so I ended the meeting, and I got up and I left.
But you didn't end the meeting.
I ended the meeting,
Okay.
and yes, I was very passionate about standing in support of this black woman, the first black woman in this position. And I think sometimes that's overlooked because nobody else was standing up for her. And I'm very passionate. There's no reason in my mind that they should even came for her like that.
Right.
And they did. And so I did abruptly end the meeting, but nobody stormed out, and that was on tape. And if you watch that tape, yes, I did get up and I walked out because I didn't want to engage that conversation anymore because I felt like it was boxing me in. Now I'm allowing the meeting go on that really talked about a personnel matter that I felt we shouldn't have even been talking about because it violated the charter ordinance. And so that's really what that was about. But yes, I took a little offense to that because it was spun. The mayor is angry, he stormed out. To me, that's a stereotypical narrative. Not only are you attacking a black woman who is historic in that position, but now you're gonna go after the black mayor, historic in that position, and paint a picture of that whole stereotypical angry black male scenario. And yeah, it was very offensive to me. But what do? You keep moving, you push past it.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you. I appreciate you speaking to that. Now, what I do want to talk about is you've got some initiatives and things that you're doing. One of the big pushes that you ran on was youth, an engagement of youth and things to youth. And so I want to talk a little bit about, because this platform deals with youth too, so I want to talk a little bit about some of these initiatives that you have going on for the youth and them tying them in, like that you got the 7 pillars that you have in place. So one thing we want to talk about a little bit is you have been seen on, I guess what you would call like a youth engagement tour. Like you have been seen getting out in the community, going to youth events and where youth are. So what is the purpose of that? What is that about?
I think our youth, our youth are really the future. I think we all owe it to our youth to be there for, to mentor them, to encourage them, to guide them. I had that. I could honestly say if people wouldn't have guided me, mentored me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here as mayor today. They put those guardrails up. You know what I'm saying? They kind of led me and said, here's some blind spots you need to be aware of. And so no matter where we are in life, and we all have aspirations to be successful in whatever field we want to get in. And I believe that part of our purpose that God has given us is giving back. And so when you give back, my way of giving back isn't just to, just anybody, but people that really want the help and the want opportunities for help. But when you look at our youth, those are the ones that are really looking to the adults. I always have this saying, for every youth that fails, you can find an adult that's failed them. And so I think it's very powerful that we reach down and we help pull our young people up, because they are the future. We want to make sure that we're guiding them so they can be successful. Those are the next doctors, lawyers, mayors, judges, engineers, you know what I'm saying? Barbers, whatever field, artists, whatever field they want to go in. And so we just need to make sure we do our part to help our young people be successful, especially young people that have been disenfranchised and that represent underrepresented classes of minorities. I mean, we really got to really focus on our young people, because we've got too many of us in jails, and we got too many of us that have gotten caught up in the system, and we've got too many of us living in poverty. And the way out of that, in my belief, is number one, family just isn't your immediate family. Family is all of us. And then education, and then it's loving each other and pulling each other up. And I think we all owe it to each other, especially our young people, to seize those opportunities.
I definitely like how you talk about being a voice for the community, so I like that. So is it true that you attended 8 graduations? JD, was it all 8, JD?
All of them.
Is it true that you made all 8 graduations in the Wyandotte County schools?
You know what? I'm this person, and JD will tell you, if you invite me, I'll come. And so I like supporting. And it works the other way around. I tell people, and this is to everybody, I'm the type of mayor that mayor's office is not off limits. And JD will tell you, everybody I meet, I tell them, come see me. Bring your kids, come visit me. I want people to experience things that historically, especially for people that have never had a seat at the table, and it doesn't matter what color you are, I'm your mayor. That's really the office you allow me to work off of. Come see your office, because it's our office, and come look out the window, come sit in the seat. I don't have a problem with that, because one day I gotta hand the baton off. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be somebody else sitting in there. They're gonna take my picture down. And so while that opportunity is there, I just want people to know that I'm available again, that this mayor wants to be engaged, that I can come to see you where you're at, and you're more than welcome to come visit me at any time that my schedule allows.
Okay. You got a few more youth incentives that you are bringing out. One of them is a youth advisory board. The youth council. Why is that important to you?
Because our young people have a voice, and I think sometimes we overlook that voice. And it goes back to this whole mentoring thing. They're a part of our community. They have needs, and if we really want a successful community, we got to look at that generation that's going to make up our community, and we got to have them be engaged and involved, recognize their voice, implement their ideas, whatever visions they have. And there's some really talented, bright, smart young people in Wyandotte County. I don't care what nobody says. We've got some talented young folks. We need to have those folks around the table. A lot of problems can be solved, and there's a lot of solutions in the minds of our young people, because they represent the ingenuity of where society is going to go. I mean, I remember growing up, and my mom and dad, they'd be like, how do you work this remote? And now I'm talking to my son, how do you, this phone, how do you, what does this app do? I don't know. So, I mean, there's a lot of talent in that. There's a gentleman by the name of Chester Owens. He's a historian in Wyandotte County. I know a lot of people know him. I have a lot of respect for him. And when I was on the police department, and he didn't mean any offense by this, but he had a problem in his neighborhood, and we showed up trying to help him, and we were doing all the talking. We didn't listen to him. We were just doing all the talking. He told us, well, they're telling him what we wanted to do. And he stopped me and my partner, and he said, both of y'all are ignorant. And we were like, wait a minute, my brother Owens, we're here to help you. He goes, no, don't take offense. He said, I'm ignorant too. He said, we're all ignorant. We're just ignorant of different things. He said, if you take the time to seek to understand as opposed to trying to be understood, and you take the time to listen, you'll be surprised and amazed at how much you will learn. And that stuck with me. And so when you talk about our young people, they have a voice too. And we need to make sure our young people have a seat at the table and that they're engaged, and that we try and make sure that they're a part of our community, because they are a part of our community, and they need to know that. And because if we don't and we neglect them, they're going to create their own narrative. And sometimes that narrative may not reflect the values of our society as a whole. So we want to keep them engaged and involved and make sure they're a part of whatever decisions are there moving forward.
Just a couple more. I mean, there's many things that we can go to, but I want to get to a few more. You've got a couple more incentives that I know of coming out that you're dealing with youth, and a lot of economic things that you're dealing with. But I'm focusing on some of the youth things. Not that there's not other things going, but it's kind of our audience a little more so they can understand. So you have things coming out like a debate tournament. You have a STEAM day. And then you have a basketball tournament coming out. All those are coming in 2023. Everybody has a basketball tournament. It seems that way it pops up. You know, there's a lot of push for this debate in schools. And then they're pushing STEAM down school. So why is it that you are wanting to do these things in our community for our youth?
I think it sets a precedence for the mayor's office, and it's also a way to bring our community together. Because you're talking about basketball tournament, you're bringing all the high schools together. So you're bringing all segments of our community together. You're talking about a debate tournament. You're talking about a STEAM event, or a STEM event.
When we say STEAM, you're talking about science, technology, engineering, arts, and math?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all that.
Okay.
With the youth summit. And so we're just looking at ways really just to highlight and promote our young people. And I see it as a segue into bringing our community together and bringing families together, and also having something for not just our youth, but for our community to be proud of, when we do these types of events, because I don't see any other communities anywhere in the metropolitan area doing it on the scale that we're trying to plan for.
Okay. So these things you're doing, one thing I want you to expound just a little bit. You said bringing our community together. So how does our community come together with these events? What is that? How does that look?
Well, when you talk about sports, most people like sports, and most people like to see their kids playing sports, and we'll be doing it at Memorial Hall for the basketball tournament.
Okay.
Holds a lot of folks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
And the mayor's tournament, it'll
Okay.
bring people out, and really, it's going to give hopefully our young people something to aspire for. I want to go to the mayor's basketball tournament, the youth summit, the STEM program. Really to highlight not just sports, but the arts, engineering, that whole science thing. So no matter where our young people are at, it's something that they can promote, their talents in a variety of ways, and that's going to bring their families out, and it's going to bring other people in the community out, because they're going to want to see these young folks too, and they're going to want to support these young folks as well, and hopefully that'll spur off into people going to need to eat. You see what I'm saying? They're going to need to shop.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? It's going to bring tourism. It's like, wow, folks from outside of Wyandotte, what's going on over here in Wyandotte County? And we want to be a part of that. Okay. And so it really could be something that could be a model, not just for what we do in Wyandotte County, but for others communities, say, wow, that is something really special in Wyandotte County. How do we make that happen in our community?
I like that. I know talking with JD a little bit, these things are going on. A lot of times people forget. You say Wyandotte County, but a lot of times people forget that Wyandotte County is more than just the 5 high schools. It's more than Sumner, Wyandotte, Washington, Schlago, and Harmon. It's more than that. There's 3 other high schools, and so you're also talking about including the other 3 high schools, which would be Turner, Piper, and Bonner, correct?
Yeah, and you didn't ask this question, but I'm going to put it out there. Yeah, okay. I'm the first black mayor, you mentioned it, and I'm black, but I'm also the mayor for everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And everybody has value in our community, and really seeing that value in everybody is part of my responsibility. So nobody should be left behind. And so all four corners of Wyandotte County, it doesn't matter black, white, you know what I'm saying, Asian, Latino, everybody should have a seat at the table. They want that seat at the table. And I want everybody to know that I am, I guess, the people's mayor is what some people are calling me. And I want that to really mean something to everybody. And really promote that in a way that really highlights Wyandotte County as being a great and safe place to live, work, and raise a family. And that's really my mission statement.
And I like the fact that you said the tournament be at Memorial Hall. So this STEM, is it going to be somewhere in Wyandotte? Is that?
I believe so. I believe at the community college, I think the team is planning, yeah. So
Okay.
everything's still in the planning stages, but I just know, I think I've got a good team of people working on this, and I know just based on their expertise, whatever they put together, I'm optimistic it's going to be huge for our kids, for families, and for Wyandotte County.
Okay. So maybe there's a lot of things that we see moving, educational-wise, for our youth, and economic-wise. I'd be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity before we get out of here, if there's something that you would like to say to our community or for our community to know. So this would be an opportunity, you know, if there's something that you have coming up, something that you would like to know, what would that be?
Just, if I had one request in the community is just become educated about what's going on up City Hall. Educate yourself, hold your commissioners, myself, accountable to whatever your values are, and get involved, because there are a lot of decisions that are being made that affect families, affect everyday people, affect our neighborhoods, and people just need to know that they do have a voice. And hopefully I'm inspiring somebody. I'm not going to be mayor forever, but that next person, consider getting involved and getting in some of these leadership positions, because hopefully I've shown, others have shown. When you talk about Mark Dupree, Candace Alcaraz, the first black female judge who just got elected here, those opportunities are available for everybody. And really we need the right people in these positions to bring about diversity, equity, and the hope that people want for a better Wyandotte County. But you have to be involved and you have to be engaged. Go up to City Hall, know what's going on, and then hold these people accountable. And if you don't like what they're doing, become the change that you want to see. Because I'm ready at some point to pass this baton on to that next mayor, to keep this thing going in a way that's going to make a better and greater Wyandotte County. And I'm optimistic. Wyandotte County is a great place. So on the flip side of that, if you're looking for a great place to live, in spite of all the challenges I talked about, Wyandotte County is still a great place to live and be, and there's a lot of good things going on. I know I started off with recognizing some of the challenges, but there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good people, there's a lot of good things to see and do, and the more people that we can get into our community that want better, not just for themselves, but for our community, we can all make Wyandotte County a really, not just a good place, but a great place.
What is one of the number one ways you feel like people can start the process of getting educated?
Well, you can watch the commission meetings on UGTV. You can come to the meetings every other Thursday at 7 o'clock up at City Hall. You can go on the UG website and glean through it. It is a little, you know, it cumbersome right now, but you can get all the information you need there. And just really pay attention to these decisions these commissioners are making. I tell people, if I'm a raggedy mayor, vote me out, recall me. If these other elected officials ain't cutting it, vote them out. And consider running for these offices and getting in these positions so we can have the right people that are going to do things that better reflect the values of the majority of people in Wyandotte County. That's what needs to happen. I came here to be a change agent. I'm not about status quo, any establishment. I don't need anything from anybody. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not going to run for any offices when I'm not mayor anymore. I'm not looking for book deals. I don't need any hookups. I ain't about no under the table anything. I'm really truly here, not because I have to be, because the people, some neighborhood grassroots folks came to me and said, we want you to run for mayor. And here I am. And so It's not about me, it's about what we can do together. And people just need to know, I can't do it with myself. I really need the community's help to bring about the change they want to see. But this isn't about me. And so just people need to know that. Get in these positions if you really want to help bring about the change that Wyandotte County so desperately and is needed for a long time, especially in our disinvested and disenfranchised area. The economic segregations that we've seen occur over the years, we've got to have people in these positions to reverse it and just overturn the status quo.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. So I looked at JD and I didn't say, so you were somewhere before you came here today. You were at a board meeting, correct?
I was.
Okay. And it was for the new library?
It was.
So did it go?
Well, it wasn't so much for a new library as opposed they did vote to allow a conversation on how to bring about a new library.
Okay.
So if that better describes it.
Okay.
But the vote to do that alone is a big step forward because before tonight's vote, they were kind of just stuck in limbo. At least they can start having a conversation about what that's going to look like and to get the process actually started. So I'm excited. Okay,
good. I am too. When I seen JD didn't have that frown on his face, so I knew something was kind of working in his face. Okay, Mayor, we appreciate you for coming out tonight. We appreciate everybody for being here. An opportunity, but before we go, can you join me in another opportunity to give some oxygen to Mayor Tyrone Garner? Please be sure to come out and carry the culture with us again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel right here. And our guest next week will be Leon.
Yes, Leon.
Saint Leon.
Saint Leon.
An artist, you know? So please come back with us here. Also, I must say appreciation for our host here at the elegant 1739, Steve Hooks. We appreciate you. Also, before we go, I do have to make sure that I let you know that we do have one more performance. So we're going to see some of this good music from Miya. All right, she's coming back up for us for the year. So, I am Coach Mo.
I'm Jabril Janae.
All right, and together we are culture keepers. We love you.
We appreciate you.
And we thank you very much for coming out and being a part of us. All right.
Yeah.
So, this is the end. Cannot forget our guy, DJ Ben Rich. Appreciate him for being here. Again, and I gotta say this, I appreciate for everyone behind the scenes, but I gotta send a shout out to our intern, T Money, and he came back.
T Money,
you know
back.
What I'm saying? He came back to work with us again. So we appreciate that. So don't leave. Once Maya finishes her performance, we'll do our drawing for our Royals tickets and our cameras. All right. So appreciate you, Mayor. Thank you so much again.